Welcome back to Master 79. In this lesson we are tackling ielts speaking part 1 on the topic of being busy. You will get the full brainstorming process and then a complete Band 9 standard performance, question by question. First, a quick point of vocabulary. In ielts speaking we talk about parts, not tasks. Part 1 is the opening section. It lasts roughly 4 to 5 minutes. The examiner asks you short questions about familiar, personal topics and you are expected to answer in about 2 to 4 sentences. It is a warm-up, but it is marked exactly like everything else. Here is our topic card, number 38, being busy. 4 questions. Are you busier now than when you were a child? When was the last time you were busy? How do you feel when you are busy? And do you enjoy being busy? Notice how ordinary they are. That is the trap. Ordinary questions tempt you into ordinary language. You are marked on 4 things, equally weighted: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. In part 1, the biggest score killer is the one-word answer because it gives the examiner nothing to mark. So use a simple shape for every answer. Answer, reason, detail. First, answer the question directly. Second, give the reason behind it. Third, add one specific detail or example. 2 to 4 sentences. Do not deliver a speech. This is not part 2. Question 1. Are you busier now than when you were a child? Compare 2 time periods, then find the interesting angle. Then my only obligation was homework. Now a full-time job, side projects, and life admin. But the real shift is that nobody manages my time for me anymore. Useful language. There is no comparison, juggling several things, and the admin that comes with being an adult. Here is the Band 9 answer to question 1. Listen for the contrast structure carrying the whole response. Oh, massively. There's no comparison, really. As a child, my only real obligation was homework, whereas now I'm juggling a full-time job, a couple of side projects, and all the admin that comes with being an adult. I think the real shift isn't just the workload, though. It's that nobody's managing my time for me anymore. Question 2. When was the last time you were busy? Be specific. A vague answer is a weak answer. Name a real, recent week, say what caused it, and signal that it is temporary. Useful language: snowed under, putting in long hours, and eating lunch at my desk. Question 2, and notice how specific this is. A named day, a named cause, and a clear end point. Honestly, this week, I've been completely snowed under because a deadline landed on Monday, so I've been putting in long hours and eating lunch at my desk, which is never a good sign. It should ease off by the weekend, though, touch wood. Question 3. How do you feel when you are busy? A two-sided answer always scores higher than a flat one. A moderate amount of pressure sharpens me. Too much and I get frazzled. Useful language: a mixed bag brings out the best in me, and a deadline breathing down my neck. Question 3. Watch how the answer turns on itself halfway through to show both sides. It's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. A moderate amount of pressure actually brings out the best in me. I get far more done when there's a deadline breathing down my neck. But once it tips over into feeling genuinely overwhelmed, I get frazzled and my concentration goes straight out of the window. Question 4. Do you enjoy being busy? Say yes and no, then show the nuance. I would much rather be busy than bored, but permanent overload is not sustainable, so I build in downtime now. Useful language. I would much rather this than that, learnt the hard way, and a badge of honor. And question 4. Yes and no, then the nuance that lifts it out of the ordinary. Yes and no. I'd much rather be busy than bored. Having nothing to do makes me restless and a bit useless, frankly. That said, I've learned the hard way that being permanently flat out just isn't sustainable, so these days I try to build in some proper downtime rather than wearing my busyness as a badge of honor. Here is the complete part 1 performance on one slide so you can pause and read it end to end. Notice the total length, around 180 words across 4 answers. That is the right weight for part 1, short, natural, and full of precise language. Your language bank for this topic. Snowed under, flat out, juggling several things. A deadline breathing down my neck. It eases off. Frazzled, build in downtime, and a badge of honor. Learn these as whole phrases, not as single words, because that is what makes them sound natural. Why this reaches band 9, fluency and coherence. It speaks at length without effort with natural discourse markers. Lexical resource. Idiomatic language used precisely, not decoratively. Grammatical range and accuracy. Contrast clauses, present perfect, continuous, and conditionals, all correct. And pronunciation, effortless to follow throughout. One honest caveat. This band 9 label is my own quality check against the public ielts descriptors. It is not a certified examiner score. Now your turn. Record yourself answering all 4 questions using answer, reason, detail, and fitting in at least 3 phrases from the language bank. Then listen back and ask one question. Did I sound like a person or like a textbook? Post your best answer in the comments. Subscribe to Be Master 79 and I will see you in the next lesson.